We're live.
In the absence of Rose, I'll run the building committee meeting this evening. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Hey, where is everybody?
This is it. Let's know, guys.
I feel like there's like a lot of people that kind of disappearing, that's all.
Gavels. You don't have the minutes on the agenda.
Yeah, just,
So the first order of business should be review and approval of discussion of the minutes from the building subcommittee meeting on January 20th, 2026.
Move to accept.
Is there any discussion?
I have some discussion. On the back, just a spelling correction under any other business to be discussed. In the first line, just correct the spelling of Patco from Paco. The first line. That's all.
she forgot the T?
That's all.
So they call that a Scribner's error, so, well. Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There are no nays. Moving on to reviewing the updated plans.
Behind us.
So we updated the drawing. Tyler updated the drawing. I'm not saying we because I had no part in it. I didn't help. We agreed at the last meeting on a 40 by 40 building for fire apparatus. However, none of us thought in the moment that our tanker is 38 feet long. No chance a 40 by 40 is gonna work. So we did have to increase the building size as a result. Like we talked about, it's simple. There is space to build, mezzanines and more storage space to kind of expand over time. But that doesn't all have to be built into this right away. So, it's can be built as a shell and budget depending, we add what we can when we can. So you do have the lengths of the trucks and where we would intend to put them on each of those, so it gives you an idea of how much space they're gonna take up. And it is a 65 by 65 in this drawing.
So,
Are the black outlines the rough shapes of the trucks that I'm looking at, the big rectangles?
That is the bay area, so like,
Okay,
for example, car one and the ATV trailer, we don't know how long the ATV trailer is gonna be, but that black outline
yep,
is a 50 by 12 foot box.
okay,
That would be roughly where we would expect vehicles to live, whether they
Okay.
live 3 feet forward or somewhere is in there, that's roughly where they're gonna live at any time.
so 65 by 65. With the trusses, I mean, I'm not sure with the,
Steel building.
yeah, can you do 65 by 65?
Oh, yeah, steel, you can do anything.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it 60 by 60, a little less expensive than doing 65 by 65 from the standpoint, it's,
I wish Mike was here, cause he would know the answer to that.
yeah, that's what
walk
I'm, they're,
Hey! Wish to exist.
Do we have a copy of this?
Mike, metal 65 by 65, truss size, is that a concern? Would it be better to be on an even number?
60 by 60 versus 65 by 65.
What do you, so you thinking for a wood truss?
No,
no,
Metal.
metal.
Oh, steel building? Oh, well, I think that's a, I think, John from Patco spoke about that, they can do whatever you want, but I don't know if that comes at a cost. So that
Right.
would be a question for a steel company.
Okay, so, I know
Lisa.
Lisa, thank you, isn't here. I can send John an email and ask that question. And, I mean, on the surface of this, I don't see any problem if we needed to make that easier, going down to 60 by 60.
That's what I was, yeah, because
Yeah.
your biggest truck is what, lengthwise 34 feet?
Yeah,
37,
37.
37?
engine
I
two.
wouldn't
Oh.
go down smaller than 65. Judging by, so this gives us 3 feet between each bay and 4 feet between the walls.
yeah, so they're gonna get sandwiched pretty
Yeah,
tight.
they're gonna get squished together very tight, and next thing, if we have to enter both apparatus at once,
Alright, so we'll ask that question and find out what the answer is and maybe come back with options.
What's the max width of a fire truck? I mean, it's gotta be similar to a garbage truck,
What
it's
is it,
probably like right on
14
8 feet
14
wide.
foot?
no, that's height.
Width?
Width, it
Width.
can be
No,
eight
eight
and a
feet.
half, eight and a half
Eight
feet.
to 9 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking height.
8.5 feet is the,
Can I weigh
is the
in on
federal
something?
max width.
Yes,
You're
please.
talking exterior dimensions, correct? Keep in mind for a steel building that you're gonna lose some inside the building. I'm not sure exactly how much,
No,
but you're gonna lose at where every column is, so basically, you know,
you're gonna lose a
those
foot,
girts, those bents drop down, those are inbound, and they could be inbound like 16 inches or so.
So with that being said, if we are gonna change dimensions, it probably makes sense to go up to 70 to be on an even number.
and that's why I went with 4 foot on the outside.
Well, I'll talk to John, I'll send him an email with that question and let him use
So-
his expertise.
No, I got it on my phone, can I weigh in on something else?
Chris is running.
Absolutely,
Chris, I'm sorry,
no worries,
Sorry.
no worries,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah, no.
Is it imperative that you want 4 bays across the front? I mean, like this, or can your building be narrower and be longer? And then put 1 bay, like an accessory bay that comes in to 1 bay, I know it's not great to have it on either side, but it might. But thinking about the lot down there itself, there's
65.
not a lot of flat before it starts rolling down. So I think that's probably a disadvantage, but,
So my thought, and this is one thing that I asked when I was redoing this drawing completely, is where is this building gonna be set? Are we attaching it to the current building?
No,
Okay, cause that's something that I was told we were doing,
no, there's no way that you really can do that. You got a septic tank in the way.
that's what I thought.
The elevation of the existing structure that's already there should have a little bit higher for getting the
Drainage.
water away.
Yep.
You have the leach field up in that backside, so it's gonna be right, I would, I didn't bring a site plan, but we do have that site plan, plot plan down
Mhm.
there.
is it in the same location where we did the first initial building?
AXLs.
No, not necessarily, cause this is much larger, this is gonna have to set out where the chuckalocks are.
That's what I got.
You know, we were gonna salvage all of that, if we did the other building, that fit in that one space where I had staked it out at one point in time. That fit in there quite nicely, but this building will not fit in there with the leach field that's there. You'd have to pull it forward quite a bit, but then that's a lot of grading that may have to, unless I can't quite remember, but you don't have that plot plan of the fire station, I don't have that with me. Cause that would answer some questions, that's got some topography on it.
So for conversation purposes, what we, had, according to the minutes and according to my recollection, what we'd all agreed on and made a motion in support of essentially was a 40 by 40 for the apparatus bays, the apparatus building at fire station number 2. It's been identified that the length is not sufficient given the length of the trucks. Our current fire station is 40 by 80. So that's obviously that meets that length aspect of things. So I'm curious, I get that we needed to add length. How did we add 25 feet to the width?
Why do we go with wider than, why do we go with
Like,
65?
do we go from 3 bays to 4?
So we went from 40 to by 40 and we needed, it was identified it needs to be longer. So instead of going 40 by 60, we went 65 to 65. So it was identified it needed to be longer because of the width of the truck. What made it have to get 25 feet wider?
To add the base.
Right,
So instead of having to move, like, so, for example, instead of having to sit there and move, because we only have, at any given time, usually 2 people on. We have the chief and we have another person. So if we have to get the forestry truck out, right now, if we had to get the tanker out, we have to move engine 1 out, park it on the lot, pull the tanker out and park that outside, back engine one back inside, and it delays our response time. This way, and this is my theory, I'll leave JT's theory up to himself, but this way we have access to the ambulance, a frontline engine, and our tanker without having to move any apparatus as well as the chief's car.
What's, that's station one?
Station one right now has engine three. And the antique.
And nothing else will fit up there. It's not truck wise, none of the other trucks fit in the building.
I think,
I thought we determined that. Yeah,
The truck we're borrowing from Conway fits in there.
With modification.
so if we went with 3 bays only, reduced that width back down and went longer. I mean,
And then you have the footprint of lands to put.
right,
If I may, weigh in. Looking, just recollecting, and you remember the stakes we had out there, we staked out, we looked at a 30 by 40, I think originally, and then maybe a 40. 40, we might be able to get something that's 60 feet wide. But right now, on that site plan, you can see there's a truck parked there, and that's right where that bay is, there's the little gable end, so that would eat up, that space would be eaten up by adding on the sally port to that existing building. My thinking is that if you were to take, like where the chuckalucks are, and rotate those perpendicular to the existing fire station and pull it back so that you have room between it, that's where that building would probably best be suited.
Same right here.
Yeah, you take that and spin that, yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's-
Pull it back a little bit,
yeah,
it's kind of more parallel, so it's.
How about something like that?
Well, no, because then we have to put another driveway access in, I think you're better off if you could rotate that back away from you. So it's,
So the reason
go ahead.
my brain's working on this. I know the second driveway, and you know, whether that was like our original plan coming off this access here, or even if it was just something that like came out over here next to the flagpole. Those bays could become double-ended, doors on both sides, so the trucks can back in rear to rear, which helps with some of that, and then maybe we could go down to 3 doors instead of 4, or not 3 doors, but 3 bays.
But you'd have to make it commensurately longer at that point too, a 60-foot wouldn't cut it if you're gonna put trucks butt to butt, now you're talking like 40 by 80 or 100 feet.
no, I mean, because these are stacking. You're still stacking, so if you
Yeah,
can imagine.
there's still gonna be multiple vehicles in the bays.
Okay.
We're just trying to put primary stuff up front,
Gotcha, oh,
but
okay,
now you
That'd be
actually
similar
kind
to,
of
like-
save the room because you're back to back
It's
versus.
similar to what Wakefield does, is their bays on both ends and they back their trucks in.
put the forest truck to the back and.
So at any given point, they can get whatever they need out of one side or the other.
You lose the mezzanine. Completely.
Yeah, I mean,
You lose it.
spitballing, we could do mezzanines down the sides, or there's,
Not really, that would be evil.
Well, we gotta get this by.
Oh, I know.
You know, you guys got wish list, but
I think right now, the best thing is to reach out to Patco, and they're the ones that are gonna know what makes the most sense.
Well, it has a lot to do with the topography of the site.
right,
And although I agree with you, back-to-back bays, you know, on either end is good, but then that's gonna add a lot of site costs, because now we need another curb cut off of 153. Culvert, drainage, states involved in that curb cut. Now we have that curb cut, so we don't have to expend those dollars on that. I know that, and we had talked about this a year ago, about the bays being back-to-back if we were to do something like that. I understand that. But in a cost savings measure, somehow we gotta get back to, I think, just single doors, the length of the building, and make sure that we can get trucks in and out of there. There's possibility that you might be able to put, if we can crowd that up near the leach field, and it would be, so the existing fire station's here, the new building would be kinda like just as the Chuckalucks is set, but further back towards the leach field. You might be able to put one side door to get the forestry truck out without a lot of earthwork and bring it around towards the flagpole. get it out of there.
Isn't there an existing driveway towards the other end?
Yeah, but it's not I'll call it a legal driveway.
Oh,
It's just like if you have a woods road or something like that.
An access
It's,
road.
there's no culvert, it's just,
What it
Something
brings
we
in
can
is
do.
that, yeah, we have, you need an official curb cut, so the state's involved in that. The sight lines, they're all gonna look at that. Chris and I spent some time last year looking specifically at that location.
Is it
Like
12
you and I actually looked at it
yeah, I
as
didn't think it
well.
was bad though.
Yeah, but then we get additional paving. The paving that we have there right now is compromised.
Don't think we
Out in front of the existing fire station.
The washer and hair dryer right
We
here.
need some pavement coming into the building, but if we can contain it to that without starting to stretch out the other end, it's looking at a cost savings ideas.
The other potential I can see too, that workshop room is 12 feet. So cut 12 feet, basically cut behind the trucks. Bring that back wall right up to the back of the truck bays there, those truck boxes. And then come out the 12 feet on the side to make it more of a rectangle, a thinner rectangle. And then those couple of rooms and whatnot could be on the side closest to the existing building.
you lost me.
You lost me.
One is a
Yeah.
65-foot square.
65 square.
So we cut it to this,
Which is how long?
well, it'd be
Yeah.
minus 12 feet.
That'd be 60, it'd be 50 foot,
Three.
2 and an eighth, and 1 in
You
eight
get
inch.
two.
So 50-ish.
50 is right
So
at
we'd
the,
be 50 this way, and then we could add 10 or 12 feet this way to move this stuff along the side, like down the side of it. Kind of like the way it's set up now with the offices and the bathroom.
So it'd be like a 50 by.
Questions for you.
75.
Is it more money to extend the trusses wider than it is to make another truss?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
I'm not the steel guy.
Chris, what was your thought?
Well, my initial question wasn't necessarily just about the footprint, it was about the added cost of adding 25 feet, so with you still have the same square footage.
Right.
So, because if, we're adding 25 by 25, whatever,
We're increasing the cost by 50%.
yeah. That's a substantial amount more money.
It's building, concrete, foundation, grading, everything that goes with it. And
I
then
was, yeah,
and maintaining that, controlling that with heat as well, conditioning that space.
outside of the limitations by the contour of the ground and the lay of the ground and stuff. And yes, we're not building this for tomorrow, we're building this for 50 years from now. Well, let's call a spade a spade. If we put a one-bay garage down there, it's an improvement over what we have now. So we don't necessarily need to aim for the Mars, if we could just aim for the ozone layer.
Just get up in the sky.
To your comment, anything that you add on a steel structure, you can just add some concrete and just keep going out on the gable end.
Down the road, yeah.
Yeah, down the road, that could be expanded, so, I think,
The other thing that I could offer right off the top is potentially like the ATV trailer and the boat.
And the car could sit outside.
We can keep going. That's tough because it's heated. It's got meds in it, the pickup truck. And if it's snowing or whatever, it sucks to have to clean it off to go on a call. But anyway, the trailer, the ATV trailer, the boat, we could potentially continue doing what we're doing with pop-up shelters outside to keep those in. It's not super ideal for the winter, but it's undercover, which would take them out of this building and potentially allow us to drop a bay. And then with that, all this stuff can go where this bay is now.
Or you could shrink it the other way.
And you'll definitely be able to shrink it down. I mean, without doing the measurements, think of kind of this.
Well,
as
that-
your footprint.
What I'm going back to what I asked him, is it cheaper to go narrower, make a truss smaller, and go wide and go longer, add another truss, or is it cheaper to go wider?
I know we said we're gonna ignore it, but it was originally a three bay.
Get those answers from John.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
I
to
just
do,
was trying to figure
still
out
gotta,
something.
you gotta cost
So
us
there's
the
an
doors
extra
in the other
bay.
end. I mean, if you're looking at that, you wanna make.
No.
No door, you're just
No,
gonna.
so basically what he's saying is, the trailer the trailer and the boat goes outside,
Yeah.
so we can.
You bring it down back to 50 feet.
We can get rid of 15 feet, which gets rid of the 4 on the outside and the 12.
So it reduces down to 50 feet.
Yep, 50 by 65. Is it cheaper to go with a 65 by 50 or a 50 by 65?
Oh, that I don't know.
And that's the question.
Yeah, narrowing that down to an exact dimension will probably be driven by John's answers.
Exactly.
But I do think that that's a reasonable compromise. And like we said, if, you know, crazy
Well-
stuff happens and we need to buy a ladder truck, we add another bay on later.
So keep in mind, anything that you make wider, you're increasing the load on the structure itself, you know, what's supporting that.
Right,
So take, if you're gonna go 60 feet wide, it's a 30-foot span off the ridge to one side, so your rafters basically, or those bents have to support so much. But if you take and start increasing them to 40 feet, now that material gets heavier. So anything you could do to go out lengthwise is more advantageous than it is to start beefing up structure to go widthwise. And that works in wood, it works in steel,
So-
it's the same principle.
I just wanna make sure I'm on the same page. When you're saying width right now,
rectangle.
you're talking up and down on this truck.
Right, up and down this.
So we're better off
The ridge
going
is
left to
running with
right.
the bays. Yeah, the ridge is running with the bays, it's parallel with the bays.
So
And
initially,
maybe that's where we cut that whole top section off, where that bay is, and come out to the back and have that extra garage door. Or even,
You don't want a garage door on the gable.
I'm talking about a small residential sized garage door,
Yeah,
like where that workshop is down there.
I understand that you do not wanna have a garage bay on the gable.
That's not the gable.
this is
Where the workshop is.
The gables are here, right?
No. The gable end, this is the gable end bay.
right.
Oh,
So-
okay, yeah,
This would be,
there's no.
you wanna have a garage door on a gable, you don't wanna have it on this side.
Well, you can, it's not the end of the world, there's buildings built all over the place,
Oh, yeah,
you know.
it's a pain in the ass
That
to
are like
snow.
that, but if you're just pulling a vehicle in, live with it.
Okay. I think we have notes to revamp. Get some answers from John and revamp.
It's gonna be a hard sale. If you
No
look
matter
at
what we
it.
do, it's a hard sell.
Well, making it harder.
I mean, do we build a one bay then? I mean,
Didn't say
that's
that,
the
I
thing.
didn't say that. But we did agree 40 by 40, and now we're seeing 65 by 65, like Chris said.
I mean, we can go back to 40 by 40.
No, I didn't
I'm
say
not
that.
shut the door.
No, we didn't say
You know?
that. I'm just,
To my point again, to reiterate it, I get that it's identified that the trucks, because of the truck's length, it needs to be longer,
I agree with that.
but I don't understand. And I get your argument towards it. I was on that fire department, and I've been on fire departments, you guys know that. And I get the having to jockey things around, but we also have to get something approved, and do we wanna bite our nose off to spite our face? And if we aim too big, we're not gonna get anything. So we need to stay within our means.
So let me put it this way, what would your suggestion be then?
3 bays, mine.
Which is, yeah, what I was just saying, cutting that top bay off.
So 40, but pushing deeper to give you the depth you need to back the trucks in, so maybe it's 40 by 60.
Right.
Or I think 50 is probably gonna be a little bit too tight.
Yeah,
It could be too tight.
You're also gotta think about the spacing of those columns.
And then-
Supports, those are like at 20 centers, I think, but I think we went through all that when we looked at what was going on back here.
But also, you also think about the fact that there's other stuff that has to go in that
Understood.
as well. I mean, as it is, we don't wanna bring our gear into that other building.
Mhm.
We have to have a place to store the gear, clean the gear. We have tools that we use to work on the trucks to do certain projects. We have, the SCBA stuff, the air for the trucks. And then we also have all the other stuff that goes with the building, the HVAC, and the water.
And those rooms in the back, you know, we've got the workshop, we've got the gear room and all that. We talked about, I think Mike brought it up last time, being a metal building, this may start out as just a big open building and those rooms get added over time. You know, that space in the back behind the trucks may not get filled up right off the bat, but that's kind of your expansion space for the future. So it may be a shell that we add rooms to as needed.
What length would the lot support?
I'm trying to remember, I have that plot plan at home, I failed to do that, I'd have to look at that
So
and lay it out.
were
how
you
that
saying
fits.
to like put it right here?
Well, yeah, I think anything that substantial in size,
It's gotta go there.
the gable end would be, the gable would be parallel with the existing fire station structure itself. I wouldn't change the angle of that, kinda you got a red line right across there now. So, and then we need to be at least, we're gonna be at least 10 feet or so from that leach field. So that's about right as you're stretching that out, that's where I see that being. I would have to pull it back enough so that you can pull trucks up and get it into there, cause that, when the leach field's at a little bit of an angle, it runs kinda like it's parallel with that tree line on that left-hand side as we're looking at the clearing.
So that red box there is about 55 by 65. Not saying exactly what.
Your bays that you had laid out, those 12-foot wide doors or 14s?
12 foot wide, 14 tall.
12-foot wide, 14 high, yeah,
That way,
Is that it?
that is it,
Okay.
that is it.
that way we can get anything in there that we can legally drive down the road.
In fact, cause that's the one I marked up, there's all the test pits that I had dug.
Yep, measure the distance from the top of
Yeah,
your
log.
box.
I remember
Somewhere
somewhere
like
like
that.
of these, but I couldn't
Right.
remember the
Landscaping on the
dimensions,
side
cause you had a
of the
little
building.
cardboard thing. you
I
said,
did, I had a
"Oh,
little cardboard thing that says,
I can't get
yeah,
that box
put it on
there.
there, absolutely.
So I'm looking
Too
at,
away.
Cause there's this existing tank, so that would, that building.
I would estimate
We could
that
squeeze it
being
in here, it'd be
about-
nice, but now.
This is up where the last one we staked out was, right?
Yeah, it was right, it was right
Yeah.
here, because we didn't have anything sticking out that we proposed
Oh, I
in
know.
Sallyport on
They
this
just use
building.
36, 7 feet long.
And you're also proposing all the door heights be the same?
Yeah, see, I have
Yes.
increments off of this foundation, it's 10 feet,
That way, if something needs to
Yeah.
change,
because that's why I just use it as
Yeah.
increments,
say we get a,
just to get an idea.
we end up having to
This
change
is like
change another
dropping off
It
pretty
will,
good.
yeah. it
around,
is a
you can always
department,
put
yeah.
another truck in a different spot.
So you're pretty much stuck with these flats.
Say if engine one has to go out
Best you
for
can,
a
you
refurb,
know, see, we've got
Right,
pavement
that changes
here.
your
Yep.
height of the structure, because obviously you've got a
And get
gable
some
in
out of
there.
it for the winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta, you gotta
This
gable,
is possibly gonna stick all the ways, which might be more problematic.
and then your
This is
building's
gonna
like
pull back
this,
to here.
so all of your door openings have to be the same height,
That's the plan.
and so that increases the height here. Whereas, you could get away with a, shorter structure.
So-
With a wider door in the center and, or at least one.
so this happened actually in one of my previous departments. They went and they got a, they had a bay that was just big enough to fit their current vehicle. And they literally had 2 inches above their vehicle to fit that truck inside the bay. So if there's any snow on the driveway, we crash right in the building. And that limited them, and it ended up costing them significant money when they had to replace their existing vehicle.
And even a 4-wheel drive ambulance is gonna be 10 feet tall. At minimum.
I would try to keep it 50 feet wide, go with 3 bays.
I mean, 3 bays, we can work with 3 bays, this is just something that I threw together because,
I understand,
because that was something that,
yeah,
again,
stay with the 50 feet. And you're going 65 feet long?
we'll see what we can come up with for length. I'm not gonna sit there and cut it down to anything just yet until I can actually put it down on paper.
Cause also you gotta look at it from fitting it on that lot,
Yep.
you know, there's only so much room you got.
But I'll tell you right now, just making this one drawing, took me about 7 hours to sit there and figure out where everything could fit, how everything would fit together.
But now you have that,
Huh?
now you know,
Well, sort of.
you have the information,
I have a lot of the information.
right?
We had talked about this months ago, so we're just trying to figure out where we can put this.
And I appreciate the work you're doing,
Ground really
don't get me
starts
wrong,
dropping off.
but we also have to sell this thing.
I understand.
That, Chris has a copy that I had marked up when I dug the test pits out there. And there's some increments, there's measurements on there to show distances off the back wall, the walls off the fire station. So if indeed, you know, we did a layout, kinda like you have up there now, you need room enough to be able to swing trucks up in there and then back them in.
That's what
Means
Shane's
that
been
building's
saying.
gonna have to keep coming back this way, which isn't a big deal as far as the topography goes until we start getting a little too far.
Gotta say,
I mean, we could potentially,
Right,
kind of like what I was doing earlier, we can potentially take the front of that building and angle it too. So the building doesn't sit square, it sits kind of at an angle with the
You
doors
were
pointed towards
right.
the road.
you had it angled like the gable end facing towards the leach field. If
So maybe like a,
possibly like that,
something like
but
that.
then it gets into where the monument is.
So the monument right now is here.
Yeah,
Can I jump in real quick? As long as there's enough room for a tow truck to back around to get into the Sally Port, that's my only thing.
It won't be longer than engine two, so.
Oh, I know, but like Ospey PD, I'm sure, remember the old Ospey PD? How close those trucks you have to get to the fence of that playground to try to swing into that, it was, we used to have to put them on a dolly and swing the front of the cars around just to get them in.
I mean, honestly,
That's my only
I
thing.
get there's the monument there, but that monument can be very easily moved.
No,
No,
You don't wanna get into
I
that.
brought that up once, it didn't go well.
Okay,
Still got natives, old people here
oh,
that.
good lord.
well,
I know what.
there's a history to that monument, so save your good lords, Tyler,
Yeah, because
okay?
I know where it
Yep.
is, but
I know, but what is it? What's the monument?
There's a fallen firefighters memorial monument.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know what.
Yeah, we had
it was.
proposed originally just picking it up and kind of moving it to a different place on the property, and it was not well received, so.
But it was received that we could shorten the walkway on it.
Yes, yes.
And we took out I pulled out those arborvitaes that were all kind of.
Right, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it made sense if that walkway came back a little bit, that really opened that area up, we had room to do that. If you can just tell me what size before we leave tonight, I'll work on that plan and try to orientate something on there and lay out, make sure that we have distance for trucks to get it out and see what would fit on that plan.
with 3 bays.
With 3 bays, yeah, just give me the size of the structure, that's all I need. So you mentioned 50 feet in its width.
That's why I'm taking 1/4 off this building, and it comes up to about 48 something, so I said 50 feet.
Okay, so 50 feet. And what about a length? 50 by 60?
Oh, it's right now 65,
Pulling,
what?
I'm working on pulling it right here. I have the drawing I can modify.
longest truck is what, 37?
So,
Yes. Probably need at least 5 feet minimum working space behind the truck.
You need more,
Minimum.
you need
well,
more,
if we're gonna have space for the
we need
No,
more space behind that.
mechanical space behind it. it'd be more
So,
than that.
we need at least 15 feet behind the truck. That'll give us a 12-foot room. We can put gear, we can put all the mechanical stuff, workshop, everything behind it. That'll give us enough room to function.
Can I ask a question? For your exhaust management, where does that go into the building? Is that all suspended?
Yep.
It's all suspended with.
Suspended, and then
with rod.
there's a filter and a big frickin' squirrel cage fan that
Yep.
then it pops out the side of it and has an exhaust.
However, we could potentially, depending on cost, look at a different system than the Prime event, because even moving the Prime event into this building is, there's gonna be a pretty significant expense, hoses are longer, all that stuff. So they have something else called an air vac, where they're basically just big square boxes that hang from the ceiling, they detect when the particles change in the air, and they kick on automatically, but they don't have the tubes that hook up to the truck, so there's less moving parts.
Yep.
So we need to compare the cost of manipulating the current Prime event into this versus that new system. And I would guess that the new system would be significantly cheaper than moving the current. So,
Okay.
It's basically a big fan and louver system that it detects something and basically vents the building.
exactly,
It can be either on the garage door or opening or when it detects it in the air.
We had a similar when I was in WM when we converted our fleet to propane power, cause it's a huge frickin' problem, it detects propane and the whole building opens up.
yeah, this isn't really movers, it's its own self-contained
Yeah.
unit, it's got HEPA filtration in it and all that good stuff, and it does exhaust air. But it's not, I know what you're talking about, it's not quite like that.
But
It's
same
not like
general
the parking
premise.
garage type of stuff where it senses CO and all the vents open and everything, yeah.
So the existing building is 40 by 80,
80.
and it's 2 bays.
Yep.
So you're using additional footage in the back for all the boat and all that stuff.
Kinda.
I was gonna say we use that.
Engine one and engine two park in the same bay, so they're back wall to front wall with the two of them.
So if you went 50 by 70,
I think we should play with 50 by 60 first and see what we can do with 50 by 60.
50 by 65, 'cause that's what I have here. I have 65 watt long here right now.
Cut a piece of paper and try to make a building
Trusses is the only thing that will change that.
nice too,
It's an even number. But
And I would go wider than narrower, but yes. I would say pending what we hear back from Patco. Right now, we're gonna look at a,
and make one of your building cuts.
see what that
I use a
is.
cereal box,
gotta keep it 50 feet wide.
just, you know.
what dimensions would your little test box need to be?
Well, so he's, in his drawing, conveniently put all kinds of scaling stuff on here, so I got 50 feet right off the bat, I was gonna
Yeah,
go
that's
with
a
50.
20 scale, that was done at.
So this right here,
Transferring my boxes there, right?
as this sits right here, is 50 by 65. 50 wide, 65 long. And obviously stuff's not connected properly and it's not all dimensionally accurate, but
Close enough.
if good enough for government work right now. I take that back, it's not exactly 50, it's a little bit mucked up because I have one on one side of the wall.
Yeah, I was gonna, divide by 4, it doesn't come out.
But yeah,
But you're close enough, you're within 1.5 feet, so
yeah,
close enough.
I think 50 by 65, but depending upon what we hear back from Patco, that could change. 60 by frickin'.
Yeah, cause you'll see advertisements for steel buildings, but they're always some type of modular size.
Yeah, 50, I think it's,
Because they can run them that way.
Yep.
60 by 80, 40 by 60.
50 by,
Yeah, there's sizes that work.
And one thing that happened, I was talking with one of our current members. One of his previous jobs, a steel building company, they had someone say, oh, no, we don't want that building anymore. They already had it almost done with production. They were able to get it for 75 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
So there may be something we can get, something like that, but that's a little harder to
Right.
plan for, but.
Yeah, and then get a plan. There's a lot in that, quite a bit of rebar in these foundations.
We also get past our meeting too, so.
Come up with a bottom line,
Yes.
we're not close yet.
alright, so you're gonna go back to the drawing board, 50 by 65?
And talk to Patco to see what they recommend for adjustments, sizing, the whole 9 yards.
I would try to stay with 50 because of the lot. The with where you're locating this building.
Well, I'm
You're
just
better off
saying,
to go longer
yep,
and stay with the width.
The 50 clearly works. That's the no-brainer at this point.
What were you thinking for your sidewall heights?
16 foot.
16 feet?
That allows us to have 14-foot doors on each bay with enough room for the, with everything to go up and over on each side, on the closest sides.
So that's that building. Now if we flip it over to the remodel. We're proposing moving the bathrooms that we just spent $65,000
So
on.
I will preface this with, I was not privy to this information prior to me making this plan.
Okay,
I did not know this prior to it. Although I will say this, the bathrooms that we just spent that money on, I don't know how well those are gonna work with an addition, like a complete remodel of this station. Because,
You're gonna have to make it work.
Honestly, it sounds like we're gonna have to make it work.
You're gonna have to make it work, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they increased the floor height when they redid the floors. The floors are now inch and a half to 2 feet, inch and a half to 2 inches above the existing floor.
Well, they'd be top coating that entire
Can
floor
I
anyway.
ask why?
What?
Why was that floor raised?
Ask Edwards.
I think it
No,
was,
no, that should have been in who was running the job for the town. Why did that get done?
the existing floor was not level and damaged. They leveled it, is basically what they did.
The,
And
They
didn't they
leveled
have
it
to,
by pouring on top of it?
didn't they have to move the plumbing as well?
Yeah.
That plumbing had to move.
That was
plumbing did
part
have to
of it.
move, but they also got rid of some plumbing too.
So the whole point of going ahead, and we discussed this at town meetings, we still needed to move forward
Yep.
with those changes.
Mhm.
Even if the building didn't pass, which it didn't, with the intent that this may come down the pike again with a remodel of that building, with the intent of it's starting around those remodeled structures.
So I think you might have been out of the room when it was, I think it was just before we actually started the meeting, but we didn't technically account for a training room. We do have that conference room in the front. The day room is pretty large for what we're gonna need, especially if we have a decent sized training room. So there's already talk of just manipulating some of that interior layout to shrink some of those other rooms, have a larger training area. But with doing that, that would allow us to kind of shift some stuff around and make room where that bathroom is.
You got a lot of work to do.
Can I weigh in on this a little bit? Do you know, so you get a kitchen on the backside, you get a bathroom where showers, everything on the far side, that's where the water's coming in. The water comes out the other end. Is there enough elevation where that goes through the building to get to the other side of that?
I do not know. And the
That's the
reason,
first thing you
and
need to find
a
out.
lot of what caused what was happening with this drawing, where it was, everything was located to be, was, A, I wanted to keep the police all in one zone, to have it all be able to be a security area.
Yep,
But also
Agreed.
B, I was told that, and this is because I was told by many people different things, that the that the fire station and the new building were gonna be connected.
Who was telling you all this?
I honestly don't remember. I was asking about 15 different people things. I
Did
was
you
also-
ask any people in there?
I believe, I was trying to talk to him, but he was busy with stuff. I think I talked to you saying it was supposed to be attached,
I never said that.
So-
but
The water comes in here-ish,
The only part of any of this project I'm gonna speak to is the PD, the rest of it is none of my business.
water comes in here-ish,
Works for me.
there's the well pump is in the well.
It's
Water comes in
easier that
here-ish,
way.
it currently runs across to on top of the new bathroom,
Mhm.
and the pressure tank is on top of the new bathroom.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the domestic water, it's the sewage, because that's a gravity pitch.
I
I'm not worried about the.
I thought you were talking domestic.
I can pump
Kitchen's gotta
water
be on
anywhere
this
you
side.
want.
yeah,
Kitchen's
You
gotta be.
can drain it.
but
It's the last thing of being a plumber, shit goes downhill.
Right. So like I was saying, I have a lot to redo with this drawing because of the fact that the bathrooms we have to relocate those bathrooms in there.
What? No, we're not relocating back.
In the
Oh,
drawing.
okay.
So once upon a time, there was a interior sketch of a remodel that we were proposing, presenting to the town. Where is that? Do you still have that?
Which one?
We should, because that incorporated that remodeled bathroom. I
and
sent the
office.
word when that work was going on.
And the
that
lobby
We should know
and-
what that elevation is,
That
where that
was-
comes through the wall, and see how. if
The
we
junk
can get-
ones that we had last meeting that got everybody upset, that didn't have.
Not at the last meeting.
Those
Town
were not-
meeting last year, a year
No,
ago.
no, I know, but remember the drawing I had at the last meeting that had everybody upset because the apparatus building was too big?
It was this drawing and they were not dimensionally accurate for the bathrooms.
No, not that one.
We had something a little more comprehensive than that.
Yeah, there's more.
We were going to present it at town meeting, cause at town meeting, it was,
We're talking about the
it
ones
was a
that we-
remodel and a apparatus bay. And we
Is the ones that we
decided
came
to
up with?
move forward with the remodel.
I don't know what
Excuse
we're
me,
talking about.
partial remodel.
Lee never drew this, correct?
No.
I'm just sitting here thinking about that, he may have done something about that.
These them, JT, the 60-foot gable and 80-foot gable, or the
No.
ones from last?
Those are the ones that got everyone up in our kiosk.
Oh, okay. Oh, so these are from the last meeting? Okay.
The ones that JD didn't want me to copy. Cause they weren't finalized by any means.
Yeah, we got to bounce off the walls for 15 minutes, that was fun.
Exactly. Oh.
Don't have dates on this. Sorry.
I mean, that original one that we're gonna bring forward with the remodel included a second bathroom that sat approximately where this one, today's version, says secretary radio room.
I know where you're talking about.
These are all this is the building that was presented. I don't have the existing fire station.
So
Yeah, I don't
when
think
that-
we ever made
when
it
that
far enough
bathroom
with
was
that.
remodeled
I don't
last
think so.
summer, did anybody check the elevation from the invert of the pipe going through the foundation wall to the top of the existing slab? It's a real simple thing to do at the time of day, and write it on the wall. You know,
They did.
because then you can know how far you can get within the structure.
Yeah, and actually, one of these meetings, Lawrence actually said what that was, but I don't remember
He
what.
did, somebody did check that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna run, I mean, you could run close to an eighth of an inch per foot.
Cause it was in that,
Quarter.
it was during that whole time frame when they did all of that they did the risers, and then you came in and put the,
So it all happened at the same time,
Yep.
yeah.
that was that timeframe. And they had knew the elevations and,
Be good to get that elevation. Because that's gonna determine how far anything can travel away from that for any remodel.
Nope, I don't think we ever did that drawing on the existing fire station layout.
I know that we had something drawn, because I drew it by hand when it started.
That was my very first drawing.
I got
Yes.
everything here.
And
No,
I
it's right
scanned
here.
most of that stuff, but I'm not finding it. I think I have a binder at the station.
Where the heck did it
Oh,
go?
it's agreed on that we're not moving the bathrooms, right?
Bathrooms are staying right where they are, as much as we can do.
And I think the kitchen and, it's gotta be in that
I think
January, yeah.
basically, it's not up there now, but take all the police stuff, and that's the back end of the building.
That's
Split
what
the
I,
building right down the middle, one half one side, one half the other.
Yes,
Yeah,
he wants
See-
50%.
it's the easiest way to do it,
yeah, on
Yeah.
the 80
Am I
foot
wrong?
side,
No.
at 40 feet,
No.
left and
you know,
right.
split the
ju- and
building
sh-
in half,
you
you
still-
guys fit what you need in one half, we'll fit what we need in the other.
Yeah, but you still gotta share the bathrooms and all that
That's
stuff.
fine,
Yeah,
but it's the easiest way to do it, rather than, oh, well, this needs to go, like, right now, it's quite literally, the fire department's built around the PD. Split it right down the friggin' middle, and we just do it half and half, it's the easiest way to do it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it would be ideal to keep any of the plumbing where it is currently.
In that
The
area.
kitchen area, because I believe there's room to expand so that you can get an ADA accessible bathroom.
Cause the way the kitchen, can
I
you blow that up
believe
any
that-
bigger?
I believe that current bathroom we have now
Is 88.
is ADA
It
compliant.
is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even with the floor raised,
Even with the, well,
it's 1.12 inches.
Put a ramp.
I'm not an ADA person, I can't,
It's 1.12 inches. 12 inches a run, 1 inch a rise.
then no, that part is not, but the actual
Right, so it's
footprint
not
of
ADA
that,
accessible.
they can do a wheelie, right?
That's the law.
Also, we can't keep
It's
the
a law.
pipes unfrozen, but that's a conversation for another time.
Unfrozen.
Yep.
Froze your pipes?
Oh, yeah,
They've been frozen all winter.
What froze?
We have a 5-gallon bucket to flush the toilet.
the pipes in the wall, the PEX piping is frozen now, yes. But again, for different times.
This first time I heard.
Me too.
It's over the last week that it's been super cold that this has occurred. So I haven't reached out to Elliot yet, but I think there's.
The project's under warranty for 1 year, so
Mm-hmm.
I'd be hustling that up.
So what do you do, run when it came down from the ceiling, you ran the PEX pipes down through the wall, outside wall?
But there's a small amount of, I think there's an R7 insulation on the wall, and that's it.
The hell doesn't make it.
But we're
Oh, I know,
behind the pipe, there's R7 behind the pipe.
behind the pipe,
Between that and the walls.
styrofoam,
Yep.
that's it.
So but the pipe is exposed to the interior environment.
No, there's tongue and groove. So there's not enough heat getting through the tongue and groove to keep it unfrozen. Even though we have the mini split in there,
Oh,
oh yeah,
Lord help us and lady in waiting.
So,
You do have tools to get into a wall.
Well,
We
it's a
don't
brand new
want-
bathroom, but we'll probably discontinue the existing plumbing or request that they discontinue the existing plumbing. Put it on the inside of the wall and just build a box around it, over and up. Simple, done.
that's why box it in?
Why plumb an interior wall?
so you
You don't do that shit.
have water on your sink?
Yes.
Well, sometimes.
Right now, everything's functional, but
Yeah.
as soon as it gets cold,
Right, but you had,
we
when it
have washed the
freezes,
sink. Yes,
Get me
when it
wrong.
freezes, it's no water at all in the bathroom.
the hot water stays on the sink,
Something to say,
but
okay,
yes, the cold water on the sink freezes.
Hot
too.
water
Yes.
does
alright. Talk to you
Have one of
tomorrow,
those.
I'll stop in tomorrow and talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you keep going after the skunk? Freaking A. Okay.
I don't think we need to discuss next steps, do we? We know
No.
what they are.
I'll email out a new drawing when I get it done.
The municipal building.
Here,
Here. Yeah,
what about it?
hasn't been drawn yet, has it?
We haven't
No,
come
I
up
think it
with
was just-
anything yet.
I think it was just 30 by 60, or 60 by 30, depending on when you look at it.
Of an open space with bathrooms. Basically what was there, cut the PD off and that's what it's gonna be. That's what we talked about, am I wrong?
That's right.
And that was gonna be an
Roll with
engineer question, whether we could attach it to this building or not.
So
We were gonna,
if you attached it to this building, you will have to make this entire building,
that was the question.
you
So-
have to. Anything over 25% has to be, the entire thing comes back up to current code. So you do not want to attach it to this building.
So what's scary about that?
I was just gonna say the same thing.
We
You don't
could,
have the answer to that. So yes, you're probably correct in that statement.
There's gonna be a.
I won't say that you're
no
100% correct, but you're probably correct.
the scariest part would be the potential to get back into the sprinkler discussion depending on total occupancy of this building and that combined. Because,
Well, that's where you need somebody to come in and weigh in on that gets paid to do that.
yeah,
Not-
Yeah.
The guessing game is done. We spent a year guessing. It should be all freaking done guessing, because that's bullshit at this point. Spend the money that we set aside and get somebody in here that can tell you what to do.
And I thought that's what we just,
Well, we haven't, nobody's been hired at this point.
understood. No,
Hire somebody. Here, it's Sean Bergeron, who's right here in Conway, or it's somebody that Patco works with out of Maine. They're both in the same ballpark, but you gotta have an idea and you gotta get them engaged. And not everybody's gonna just stop everything and do whatever you wanna do right away. Everybody's booked.
Did we agree that we were gonna do an RFP for that?
So one of the hiccups, I'm gonna call it hiccup, is we proposed to the budget committee that we wanted to take and create a municipal building expendable trust fund using $50,000 from the profits from the auction. And not that they are not wrong, in their thinking, but we still haven't finalized that yet.
Well,
We have 14 of the 22 properties.
well, it's
Well, there's
18,
there was 7, 14, and 7 is 21.
Wasn't there a timeline set by that?
but hiccups on with,
So the closing companies, so you have liens on some of these properties.
Oh,
So through the closing companies, the hiccup was
you gotta pay the liens off, make sure everything's paid off to get a clear deed to the
Yep.
new buyer.
okay.
so in our meeting tonight, we discussed, we got a recent update. And it was offered, the 14 properties that have closed, it was offered to do essentially 2 separate checks to the town. Take a check now for the 14 that have closed and get the check for the other one, or try to reach out and try to get a timeline. So we opted to, let's get a timeline, we put a date, a hard date of the 15th, I think is what you said. If we don't know by then let's take the 14 property, check for the 14 property. But the budget committee, didn't like the idea of, the budget hearing is next Tuesday. It's a week from today. So to go to the budget hearing and have this warrant article proposed to take $50,000 out of the unreserved fund balance, we could still do that and take away the narrative that we're utilizing money from the proceeds of the tax sale. But it would be, that was a budgeted number for this right here, for the engineering and stuff like that. And because as it stands right now, we don't have the money, because we had the professional services last year because it was raised on the floor,
So is that spent? That was 75,000, right?
It was 25.
25.
Oh, I thought it was 75,000.
25.
We didn't spend it,
That is now.
but we haven't spent it.
We spent some of it,
Yeah.
but we don't have but we couldn't carry it over
Right, you can't carry over.
in the unreserved.
because there was no contract that was associated.
It wasn't put in.
So the only other way to have an earmarked is to set the budget this year.
Things, special warrant articles, guys, that works.
Well, that's why we got a warrant article for this 50,000.
Yeah, it's a special warrant article, cause it's a trust fund,
Correct.
Yep.
To create an expendable trust fund for the
Yep.
building.
which is a
Right.
special warrant article.
Yes.
So basically,
Special warrant article isn't gonna change, it's not gonna lapse, you're not gonna lose it.
Correct.
right, we know that.
So even if it had, okay,
So the other option was to take, when we set our budget, was to go with the new number after it was raised on the floor. Or go back to, cause it was 10,000, then it got raised an additional 25 for professional services. So that was $35,000 budget. Well, we're already increasing the budget by 4%, something like 5%, something like that.
Or what budget?
The whole overall
oh, the
operating
overall
budget.
town budget.
No. Well, you don't take the warrants,
No, not the warrants, the operating budget.
like, less than about 3%.
Right, so anyway, it was still an increase. So instead of doing that and setting that budget number for the line item at the new number after it was raised, we put it back to, we level funded it to what it was, 10,000, and proposed creating this expendable trust fund, which has not landed very well.
With the budget committee.
Correct.
Well, because they don't see, well, where's the money? You know, they're still saying,
That's why I said, that's why I just said,
Pull
drop
it from undesignated fund balance.
just drop the narrative that it's coming from, proceeds of the property, of the tax sale. And just have it come from fund balance, but that's still an additional $50,000 to come out of fund balance. Which still sets us in a position well above the state's recommended, they recommend, which is crazy, I can't believe a town would do that, 5 to 17%. We're currently at 23.4.
Yeah, the state
Unreserved.
sets it, always had it set ridiculously.
Unreserved, yeah, we're
So I mean, we, you know,
We're good.
intend on, we're in really good shape, but we don't wanna, you know, shoot ourselves in the foot and get too greedy with taking
Right.
other fund
Well, it's
balance.
taken a lot of decades, and I'll say many decades to get to this point, to have that. I remember when we didn't have any.
so we anticipate, what, 310,000 or something like that,
427.
coming in for the auction?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
Right, that was talked about quite a while, a couple months ago now,
right,
right after that auction.
so that'll be, you know, it will be coming in,
Yeah, it's just a matter when it gets here.
right, and we're looking at the big sale, the PK should be, my understanding with the auctioneers, it's gonna probably this week or next
So
week.
if indeed budget committee is not in favor of that, would we have to hold like a special town meeting or something to
No,
set that up?
No, so they just don't, I mean, you know, right? So you sat for many years on the budget committee, so they don't recommend, or they do recommend.
it still goes to the town meeting,
Right,
I mean, it's ultimately, yes, it's the budget committee's budget, but when it comes to warrant articles, I mean, we can propose them. And we can set them, we can write them and propose them.
Right.
And they may or may not recommend them.
yeah,
as your survey.
And again, the budget committee just wasn't, they weren't, in favor of putting the narrative in there that it was to come from an auction sale because we haven't gotten it yet. And I don't disagree with them, I agree with
yeah,
them.
yeah, no, that's okay. But by
We-
town meeting, you may have that.
Yeah, cause we actually
Oh,
originally,
yeah.
we were originally, trying to earmark $300,000 and set up a warrant article to go towards this project.
Correct.
And that was way too much of a commitment, because if anything did fall through, because there was a timeline of 30 days, so let's just say that, it didn't go to the first bidders, any amount of them, ideally PK Motel, if it didn't go to the first bidder, that was north of $200,000, the second bidder, was the fallback after 30 days, which was significantly less. So, if that, God forbid, that happened on that property and any of the other ones, we wouldn't have had that much.
Correct.
So that's why that went away.
Well, either way, I mean, I think they went for 280, and I think the town's portion that they gotta pay back is, was it 110, something like that?
Yeah, and then we have the
You got
lien of the
Well-
expenses and stuff like that.
The liens and all that stuff comes out on top of that,
Correct.
and the original property owner just gets reduction of this money. Yeah, I think there's two big liens on that property.
Three.
There's three?
Yeah. There was a,
You got the
One
state,
the
the
state.
lawyer,
there's two from the state and one from the attorneys.
Ah.
The state was, Roman meals tax and then, some sort of water violation thing.
Yeah, wetlands.
So we're, to wrap, we've gotten off track here a little bit, but Tyler, you're gonna redraw something?
The existing building.
Okay.
and also the new building.
I had a conversation with Lee a week ago. Actually, it was right after our last meeting, which is 2 weeks ago. He said, when's town meeting, Dad? I said, well, probably the second Saturday of March, the way it usually goes.
14.
He says, that's only 6 or 8 weeks at the time. He said, you want me to do what? I said, is it possible to have plans for that meeting? He said, you want me to do what? So I can, at this point, tell you that he probably will not have plans for that meeting. But the one thing he did say is, well, if everything was dimensioned, everything was marked up, he could put him into a full size, a full scale drawing like we did prior, that it would be presentable at town meeting. But our timeline window is getting going closer really fast
For
on
this
that.
town meeting,
It was more of a,
Show,
show and tell where we're at.
Well, that's what we
Yeah.
talked about,
Yeah,
is to have something, but I don't know that.
you don't have to have all the details inside the building and all that, more just outside structure.
Well, I think the floor plan is the renovation, everybody knows what that is, it's gotta be the floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, can you do that?
the building itself, the steel building, that's just, this is it, it's like you had said earlier, it's a big vanilla box with overhead doors. So that's, and you can do a quick floor layout, bays, garages, trucks fit here and there, but we gotta show something at town meeting where this committee has gone, besides in a circle. But I think it's due diligence, cause it's gonna run into money. We have to show at least that, not at least, we have to show that we're doing due diligence. Cause it's all our tax money.
So it sounds like priorities, get the plans, at least something for town meeting, and then also look at hiring a contractor for evaluation.
I would hire a consultant
A consultant.
for code consultant. Either, you got two options right now, either Sean Bergeron or whoever Lisa's contact is with Patco. Said there was some architect fellow that said he would do that.
We've already got a dialogue going with Sean. I feel that, for that $1,500 to $2,000 approximate,
Yeah, he was
Cost
close to
estimate.
$1,200 to $2,000.
we could take that, we could find that in a budget right now without having to wait for a town meeting for that $50,000 warrant article.
That's what I was trying to think,
And
yeah.
Well, if
get
you want me
the,
to draft an email to him, I shall do that.
Please,
cause we
And
need
then-
answers.
And then try to get him on board and see what his idea is, because we were gonna send him a plan, he was gonna evaluate the plan. That's what that cost was for.
Will he review both buildings, or was that price just for one?
That was for this out here, and this only. So, we're now presenting something a little bit different.
attach or not attach.
Yeah, either, what, I think to look at this structure, have him come and look at this building and say, what do you see if we put a 30 by 60 or whatever out there? What's our exposure? How much exposure do we have?
Mhm.
I mean, he's worked with a pile of buildings.
Yeah, for
He
me,
sits right, he sat for a long time, I think 10 years as the head of the code council for the state of New Hampshire. Partner does now.
for me, for you to draft an email and get him going and get answers on this so that we can get a drawing, and in the meantime, we're working on drawings for this. Because before we can get a drawing, we need to know, we know it's 30 by 60, but we need to know what we can draw.
Exactly.
We know what we can draw here, because one is a new building, one is a remodel in an existing building, so that's already there. This is what's up in the air, so for me, it's contact him
Yep.
and see what,
All right,
where we
we'll
can
start
put
with
that box.
We'll send him a note tomorrow. Draft off something to him.
Does everybody agree?
I'd like to have actually stop by
Couldn't
his
agree more.
office and have a sit down with him. Catch up on stuff and
So we're looking at this,
arrangements to see what he would do to fit it in his queue where he is, to do an evaluation, come into this structure, walk around, and present something to him. So that's kind of where I'm gonna head with it. And I'll keep you guys up to speed.
so we're looking at this building, cut in half, police gone. Back here,
There or attached.
There were
I
attached.
think
Right.
ideally. we would
This one's
like-
not attached.
Ideally, if we can attach something, it's gonna make much easier, cause we can take the power from here, we use it, we may need to put heat pumps out that side just for heating.
that's all you need.
Yeah, cold weather heat pump's not gonna work as good, but
Mine's not great when it gets below 0.
Mine were doing good.
You must have the good one. I don't know.
well, the technology gets better and better every year.
Yeah, mine's only a couple years old.
Yeah, mine is too, but when mine gets really cold, it
What do you got?
struggles. Mr. Cool.
I got Mitsubishi's.
It's a DIY system versus a professional.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, off subject.
are we going to do an RFP for a firm to project manage, whatever we wanna call that, but
Not for that price.
Eventually, yes, but not for that price. That's gonna be have to wait to see what the warrant article.
does it make sense to put out an RFP so we know what we're looking at cost wise? Like immediately, get that out now,
Sure.
so we know what we're looking at.
So what would the RFP be for again?
Project management, whatever, architect and design, however you wanna word that. I think project management is the
The only hiccup I see with that is say we decide to go with a company with Patco, they're gonna wanna use their own people, am I wrong?
Well, then you're hiring a general contractor at that point. Yeah, cause they're gonna be their own general. they don't need a PM.
Right, that's all.
And I would assume more than likely they would answer the RFP,
Well, I'm sure they would,
but yeah,
that's all, I didn't wanna get into that situation where they're like, okay, they already put that out to this
So,
person, and then
I
like,
think
if they choose to
If
go with
I was
us.
to, if I was to put my, hat in the ring for any project management, I would wanna know what we're doing. So you'd wanna have a set of plans.
You gotta have plans,
You gotta have plans.
yeah, we gotta know which way we're doing back here,
Right.
we gotta know what the width, the size.
You gotta know where, well, this whole, it's all one project, really.
so we should probably, we'll get the drawings done. The preliminary drawings done, bring those back, get through yes or no with what we've got. We'll get the answer from Patco as far as the trust, if any of that is a problem. Next meeting, hopefully we approve the preliminary plans. And then at least the fire plans would be ready to go to Lee, thank you, to get the actual drawings done. Does that, is my train of thought
And in the meantime, Mike's gonna reach out to Sean. and we'll-
and maybe the timeframes will line up that everything could be drawn together, but at least we can get the fire side off.
And PD.
I think if we could make it our goal to be able to pull this off by the, sometime by the middle of March, have that, or end of, after town meeting, and start having some answers and getting key people put in places and start building towards that, and we have something, then we can actually work in earnest, starting right after that point, to start looking at how you wanna solicit this, that,
Well, and I
for
think
pricing.
going back to this coming town meeting, having a table with things for people to look at as they're coming in the door would probably help our case when the warrant article comes up for the money for what we need.
Next year.
So that it, it's
27.
not just well, no, I'm talking about this coming town meeting. Have these drawings up, have our plan up, whatever, we'll do a school presentation on one of those.
Oh, you're talking about the
folding
50,000 hour,
boards. Yeah, so, that might help preemptively answer some of those questions about why are we just giving 50,000, well, this is what we've done, this is where we're headed.
okay,
I think we can refine that, but on that thought process, yes.
yeah.
Alright, I'm good. You guys good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Make a motion to adjourn.
One second.
Motion by Tyler to, Tyler and Tyler. Pick one.
At 7-Eleven.
Motion by Tyler Dutel to, you made the motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
Tyler seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
At
7:12.
7:11.
45 seconds.
Put in my phone. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.